Hello and welcome to Tech About Town, brought to you by Communitech and Elevate IP. I'm Alex Kinsella.
And I'm Alison Piel.
So today on the show, we're talking about 6 degrees of separation, not 5 as I was saying out loud, and I'm probably embarrassed myself to a bunch of people doing that. We're talking about 6 degrees of separation in Waterloo Region with not one but 2 guests on the show, Jennifer Appleby Vines, Troy Murray. Welcome to the show.
Thanks so much for having us.
Right off the bat, the first degree of separation we're going to talk about is Mandy Bajol's Champions for Charity. Jennifer, you are a fighter in this year's fight coming up on April 24th. Fourth?
Yes.
I knew that in my head. April 24th. Troy, you work at the Waterloo Region Hospital Network Foundation, Director of Philanthropy, who is running the 50-50 in support of a new pediatric echocardiogram. Welcome to the show, both of you.
Thank you so much.
So, Jennifer, you're CEO of Georgette Packaging. You're a Communitech tenant here in the hub in downtown Kitchener. What made you want to step into the ring?
So I think initially I knew a few people tangentially who had done it. Adele Newton was one of them. She was one of the first one I approached and was like, tell me about this. You were the second one. I sort of knew of you. We'd traveled in the same circles. We'd talked a few times, but I was like, have a coffee with me and tell me about this. The motivation for me was, as I've become older, I am 53. I turned 54 in May, right after the fight. When I turned 50, I started, my fitness journey changed, and it became a lot more about health and then, just looking good on the beach. And really wanted to push myself and challenge myself. And I do take great joy in being a role model for other people who are older, especially women who, are afraid of getting bulky or whatever the reasons are for not strength training, because it's such an important, I've learned so much about how important it is as you get older for bone density and all of those things. So for me, it's a long-term fitness journey. And I just thought of I saw this event and I was like, I feel like I would definitely get pushed farther than I would ever push myself. And have I been right? I have been right, yes. And so I was like, can I do this? Am I too scared to do this? I'm not sure. So just, started talking to a couple people and thought, let's do it. Why not?
You're in week 8.
We just started week 8 this morning of 16 weeks of training, yes.
What does that look like?
So it started out as 3 days a week.
Okay.
Then it progressed to 4 days a week. So it's three days boxing and 1 day strength and conditioning.
Okay.
And now I've added, and then I also probably about 4 weeks in realized my cardio was nowhere where it needed to be. So I started running up at the Waterloo Rec Center a couple days a week just outside of that, which I can't tell you how much I hate running, but I hate the idea of getting my butt kicked even more. And then I've added in private one-on-one training with one of the coaches as well, because
Nice.
It's just there's 10 of us there, right? So you get individual coaching, but I want to go into that ring as best I can. And so if I can get individual coaching, then I'll do it. So it's like 5 to 6 days a week right now.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a lot.
It's a lot, like it is. And
You
it's
did it last
I did it
2
2
years ago. Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
We're trying to get people to refer to it as like the year, like the alumni. So it's
Okay.
19 was Adele Newton.
Right.
And then the 5-year gap.
Yeah.
And then, 24, 25, and now
Yeah, this is only the 4th year.
26.
Nice.
Yeah. Mhm.
So the other connection then from I want to take you on a journey of connections today.
I like this.
Yeah. So the next degree of separation, we might not limit ourselves to 6. We'll just keep on going. But to go back to Troy now, so it's Mandy Bajol's Champions
Yep.
for Charity. Mandy Bajol was a former Communitecher.
Yeah.
Worked here, and also, in addition to being a former Communitecher, is also a former 2-time Olympian.
Yes.
I guess that might be a little more important than being
Yeah.
a former Communitecher. They're on equal
Well,
grounds.
I
They're on
mean-
equal grounds.
I don't know. Communitech's pretty important.
It is pretty important. It is pretty important. They're both equally important.
Yeah.
She's a former Olympian and former Communitecher. What's really funny is, Troy, you have 2 connections to Mandy. One is you actually, when she left Communitech, you took on her role. But the other one I found out earlier today, and that's the one has both a place and a person connection.
Yeah, actually, when I was playing junior hockey in Sudbury, when I was home for the summers, I would be training for boxing, working on my footwork with Fitz Vanderpool, actually in this building with Mandy.
Oh,
So I was trying
wow.
to find it, but way back in the day, it wasn't the Record or the Chronicle, but some grassroots newspaper had done a feature on both of us. So it was pretty cool to have that full circle moment of, one being taken over her role in the business development team at Communitech here, but also to then be a part of this podcast with you and
full circle moment. Really cool to see that Mandy has had such a inspiring impact on this community.
I knew a few of the things this building had been before it was the Tannery and before it was home to Communitech. Paintball.
Yes.
A rehearsal space for bands.
Yep.
But I did not know it was a boxing gym.
No. And Fitz was here?
Fitz the Whip.
My son trained under Fitz. So I know him very well. Yeah.
Another connection.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then
He's
Fitz's
great.
brother is Sid. And
Yeah.
there's your whole, and there's like 5 of them.
There's 5 boys.
Yeah, there's
Yeah.
a bunch of them, yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, I knew-
3 are boxers, 2 are not. Well, they were all boxers, but 3 went pro and 2 did not.
So with your role now as director of philanthropy, you've had roles in advancement, development, fundraising, sales as well. How does that career trajectory work? Like do you always know you wanted to go into philanthropy, or were you kind of like more focused on sales and philanthropy kind of comes naturally? They're both asking for money
Right.
at the core, right?
Exactly. Yeah, I think like most fundraisers, you kind of fall into it. I think if I look back on my career and some of the breadcrumbs that were left, yeah, maybe I got into fundraising early on with things like Movember. I actually ran a Movember campaign when I was here at Communitech. When I was at TMU as a student, I helped out with the United Way campaign and did the CN Tower stair climb. So there's other elements where I'd kind of done some low-level fundraising and event-based fundraising. And then, I started as corporate sales at the Mattamy Athletic Center, formerly known as Maple Leaf Gardens. Did all the corporate sales in the building, so selling ad space like rink boards and nice logos, that kind of thing. And then transferred over to the university itself and did sponsorship for things like Orientation Week and other student affairs programs. And that kind of slowly led into more major gift fundraising. And then when I had my daughter in 2018 and we looked at daycare costs in Toronto, we're like, let's get out of here and move back to my hometown of Kitchener-Waterloo, and thought I'd give tech a try. And that was, reaching out to Steve Curry, who opened up the door here. And actually, Steve Curry's a former board member at the Grand River Hospital Foundation. So many connection points. But did corporate sales or business development here at Communitech for a couple of years pre-COVID, and then everything hit the fan, and all those in-person events that I was selling had to shift to virtual. So that was a lot of fun. And also another design firm locally I worked for called SnapP. And I think I realized wearing all the different types of biz dev and partnerships hats, as you said, sales is sales, whether it's selling fundraising initiatives or selling a widget, you're still trying to sell something and get the message across to the end buyer, end donor. So I think my marketing degrees from TMU helped with that. But no, I never really thought I'm going to be a fundraiser. I think I went into business to try and open as many doors as possible and didn't necessarily know that philanthropy or biz dev was going to be that, but really excited that I'm able to do something that really fills a cup and raise money locally for the Ren F.
I'm terrible at asking for money.
Me too. I can sell anything, but I can't close the deal. That's why I never went into sales.
I just find it like even fundraising for like I was saying we're all fundraising for like a rugby thing right now, and it's hard to ask for money.
Yep.
But so like kudos to people who can do it. You have to do that right now with champions.
I do, and it's at this point in my life it's easier because I also started in nonprofit back in the day. I worked at the Lung Association and I worked at a bunch of different charities. I went to Sheridan College for like a charity degree. Realized pretty quickly I was not into fundraising. I liked the event side of things, got into more corporate events and whatever. Managed to avoid having to ask people for money for quite a long time. Ended up through many life adventures as the CEO of Georgette. And guess what? I have to sell stuff.
Now you have to
as
ask
part
people
of
for
that.
money.
Yeah, I mean, long story short, I initially had a business partner. He was in charge of sales. That went away. It's now just me. Guess what? Now I'm in charge of sales. So having to do sales, and I literally have no choice if I want my business to survive, has made it a lot easier to just be like, you know what? It's just being comfortable asking, and people can say no, and that's fine. And it made it way easier to fundraise for Champions for Charity. I had a goal of 10,000. I've already reached that. I'm so excited about it because I thought it was a bit of a stretch goal. I wasn't sure. but I got 90 donations. I think I have the most. I was looking at everybody's leaderboard the other day.
yeah.
I think I have like the most donations because it's a lot of small ones. It's just like asking everybody, like whatever you can afford, you know, $10, whatever, I'll take it, you know? So yeah, it's just, it's, I get it. It's not any, but once you just do it, it's just about doing it and asking.
That's incredible though. $10,000, like, well, probably over that. That's very, very good.
I'm really happy for it. There's lots of people that are, you know, in different networks and have raised a lot more, and that's cool. But I'm really, I'm the people I'm asking, like I got one donation of $1,000 and I had a couple of 500 from real estate agents with money. Yeah. But other than that, they were all $100 or less. Yeah. So it's like, I'm the Bernie Sanders of champions for charity.
That's good networking.
The grassroots, you know.
That's good networking. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Well, you'd be like, even for me, when I was doing it, I had someone I worked with at RIM, like a developer, donate. And it was like whatever amount, but it was like, I hadn't talked to the person in probably 15 years. And they're just like, oh yeah, no, good luck in the fight. I'm just like,
and sometimes
so
I had a guy come out of the woodwork. He's just on my LinkedIn post. I'm connected with him because he was my son's hockey coach 10 years ago. Yeah. Haven't talked to him. Great guy. Haven't talked to him since, right? And he came out of the woodwork and gave me a nice donation. And what I've also realized is like a lot of people have connections to the charity, right? Yes. So we don't realize what a big, like the night of fundraising that I know we're going to chat about for Ren is going towards Ren, but the boxers' donations are going towards McMaster. And we don't realize how many people in our community have been touched by those services. Yeah. So I learned today it's the second largest pediatric inpatient hospital in Ontario.
In those connections at McMaster are varied, and the time people spend there is so different. Like one of my daughters spent time there, but it was only 3 days. Mm-hmm. But then there's people who are there for months, and the treatment and the programs they offer are amazing.
Yeah. My girlfriend's daughter was there for 5-6 months. And then she went back and they actually rebuilt her trachea out of her rib.
That's crazy.
So that's how technology. So she was there. She was born at 24 weeks. So she was there for 3.5 months. Then she was transferred to Grand River. And she came home and she was a beautiful little ray of sunshine, and she got a cold and it collapsed her trachea. So then she was back at McMaster for about 6 months, and they put a trach in and she left. And they gave her a little baby with a trach so she could learn how to clean it and stuff like that. It was amazing. And then at about the 6-month mark, they brought her back in and they did a surgery and they rebuilt her trach with her rib. So now her trach will grow with her because it was built out of her own. That's nuts. It's unbelievable. I was blown away.
And there's so many stories. Like we've got 2 people on our team, one who used Max services because her daughter was diagnosed with a rare lung condition when she was pregnant, another one whose son has cystic fibrosis and is there every 3 months. And like, again, all these donors of mine keep, you know, they tell me they have a connection. So circle back to like asking for money. I found it easier to do this because I'm not asking on behalf of myself. Like, yes, I have a goal and yada, yada, but you know, it's a service that we need to support, and it's not for me. It's for, you know, the kids, but it's for this great service. So it does make it easier. Yeah. I think.
I think when it has to do with kids, it, a little bit more of a soft spot, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's such a great cause, and it's not the only part of the night, as you mentioned. So the boxer donations go towards McMaster's Children's Hospital. The other part of the fundraising for the evening is a 50-50, and which anyone who knows me knows that I am a degenerate gambler when it comes to 50-50s. I can't go to the Titans or the Rangers or anywhere. I was at a Maple Leafs game, and they had one, and it was the only one I fought off, mainly because I didn't know where it went.
Well, yeah,
you know,
that's true.
And Toronto, they have enough money. It's fine. I'm not going to do that one.
True fact. And they charge way too much for daycare.
They do charge way too much for daycare. So with the 50-50, it's in support of a pediatric echocardiogram, which I know way too much about, other than what it's called, which is a whole other story. Can you tell us about the 50-50 and the need for the pediatric echocardiogram?
Yeah, so you can get your 50-50 tickets at champs5050.ca. I generally recommend you go for bigger bang for your buck. $100, you get 250 tickets. So I'd start there. But yeah, all the funds raised help go towards purchasing a new pediatric echocardiogram. So that really just helps kids be able to get their heart checked locally and get accurate imaging that's not invasive. There's no radio waves that are going to impact their overall health, and other alternatives might mean needing sedation to go to an MRI or a CT scan. So having something that's not invasive, really child friendly, is going to make a huge impact on finding out if kid's heart is doing okay.
And will that go to Ren Midtown?
Ren Midtown.
Yeah.
Yes, you said Grand River earlier, but
I was born and raised here. They're
But
always
at the time it was Grand River.
Grand River, St. Mary's. I'm Freeport. It's not even called Freeport anymore, but I'm working on it.
Change is hard.
It is hard, especially when it's
Still
naming.
the Sky Dome, man.
See, exactly.
Oh, 100%. Even like ACC, right?
Yep.
It's just like, nope, not the ACC anymore.
Somebody-
It's something,
Yep.
I don't even know what it is now.
In 20 years,
Scotia
everybody will start
Center.
calling it the right thing.
That's it. Yeah.
I know. Somebody asked me the other day, what is the Sky Dome? I'm like, I can't even. Just can't even.
I can't do it. Ren Midtown works for me. Like it's the easiest one for me to switch to,
Yes.
only because I love the idea of Midtown. And so I'm super
Yeah.
down with it.
It's branded properly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It works. And then the other ones, I'm like, I know where they are. I
Yeah.
know what they're called.
like
All the other buildings have names too, eh?
yeah, Ren at Queens Boulevard has a nice ring to it too.
Yeah.
If you're an Entourage fan.
Yeah.
One of the first series I binged, so I got a soft spot for that.
And then what is Freeport now?
Ren at Chicopee.
Okay.
Which actually makes more sense.
Yes, because it is
Because I
like,
didn't know where Freeport was.
yeah.
I was thinking the Bahamas because I grew up like in West Palm. So I'm
True.
like Freeport. And they're like, no, not that Freeport. I'm like,
No. Sadly, no.
not that one. Not going to enjoy it. Okay, so we talked about the 50-50, the champs. I would be remiss if I didn't mention one other kind of interesting thing. So you are, I think, looking at all 20 people, you were the lone tech community representative.
Yeah.
This
a lot
year.
of construction.
A lot of
groups and stuff,
construction.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you this year, last year was Kristen from Avid Bots, who won her fight. I fought the year before. We're not going to talk about it. And then it was a split decision. And then prior to that, there was a bunch of, so Mandy started it, obviously. There was Laura Johnson, who's now at, she worked here too. It's kind of funny. Everyone kind of worked at Communitech at some point, but she works at Ryco right now.
Yep.
Craig Haney, who's over at Alta ML.
Yep.
Who else was in 19 that was in tech?
Don't know. Haven't
like there's-
gone back and watched that one yet.
Oh, 19, you know what? 2019, do you ever see the video? No?
I don't know.
Everyone should go. I'm going to put it in the links.
Do it.
2019 was at the Walper. So if you've ever been to the main ballroom at
Yeah.
the Walper, imagine walking into that.
And there's a
instead of being
boxing
like
ring in
brightly
there?
lit, it is dark and all the lights are on this ring that's way, way oversized for that ballroom. But they managed to fit all the tables around it, and nothing had been done like that in town before. And so you walk in, everyone's dressed to the nines. And then these people just start beating the crap out of each other. And I didn't know it was real. I had no idea. The first fight, there was blood. And I was just like, wait a second. I thought this was like a charity thing. They're like, yeah, it's real though. And I'm like, oh, that's totally makes sense now that I've actually done it. So are you
Yeah.
inspired?
No.
No.
You know what? I like the fitness portion of it, but I have 3 little kids, and so 5 to 6 days a week I
It's a lot.
drive to
Some of
basketball,
the people
soccer,
with little kids are really
volleyball,
struggling.
dance,
for sure.
guitar. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. The timing is a challenge. What about you?
As a 6'3" human, I don't really want to get punched by someone else as big as me. I did mention that to Fawn at a Chamber of Commerce event. She's like, well, that's the point.
Yeah, that is the point. Yeah, it would be interesting. It would be,
Something to consider.
something. Well, we've put the bug in Troy's ear for this one to come figure out. I know what I'm going to say. Sorry, I screwed that up. You had glossed over it earlier, Jennifer, but you mentioned now as CEO of Georgette Packaging, you started in non-for-profit and events. You worked at Charcoal Group. How did you get from nonprofits and then events to become the CEO of a sustainable packaging company?
It's been quite a journey. I guess I'll start by saying I always knew I could be an entrepreneur. I always knew I had the leadership skills. It didn't matter whether I was working for somebody else or not. I was always in leadership positions and always found myself forcing my way into leadership positions, even when I wasn't, taking charge of things, making sure they happened properly. So ended up in hospitality at the Charcoal Group for almost 15 years. My last job there was running Wildcraft in Waterloo, and ended up leaving there with a chef who was also a friend, and we started our own business. So that was my first foray into entrepreneurship. So for those who might be aware, that was the Crumby Cookie Dough Company still there on Regina. We ended up selling it and it's been sold again, but it's still there on Regina. We ran that until COVID kind of changed our business model. That we had thought we were mostly wholesale. We literally opened our doors on March 15th, 2020. Yeah, we opened that door on Regina, shut down 2 days later. And we had so much wholesale business through the universities and the restaurants and the cafes and whatever. So COVID changed all that. We ended up running an Uber Eats, delivery business, which was not the plan. So I was working at Georgette. When I left the charcoal group in 2018, I didn't leave to start Crummy. It was kind of coincidental. I'm still not really sure how I thought I was going to run Crummy and work in a restaurant. I hadn't really planned that out as... my personality is such as like, I'll figure it out. How hard can it be? Yeah. Kind of like how I got into this. So how hard can it be? I'm sure I can do it. So when I left the charcoal group, I was looking for something to help pay the bills while we built this business. And I left simply because I was done with the restaurant business and good company to work for and everything else, but just done with that lifestyle. And ended up getting a job at Georgette. So another Communitech, I don't know if anybody in the room knew Rod Foster, but he was a sales mentor at Communitech for a very long time. He was a regular guest at Wildcraft, knew him quite well. We'd actually worked on the Grand River Hospital Foundation Gala together for years because he was on the board, and Wildcraft catered it, and so we got to know each other really well. So he said to me, he was one of the people who was mentoring me through like finding a new job because I was trying to break into tech. And he was like, have you heard about Georgette? Let me hook you up with Sarah Landstreet, who's the founder and whatever. So I ended up getting a job at Georgette as a salesperson, back to the sales theme. I did that for about 2 weeks and was like, nah, this is not for me. Cold calling all day. No, thank you. Ended up staying on as an operations person. And Sarah was incredibly supportive through my entrepreneurial journey with Crummy. She let me go down to part-time, was really flexible, et cetera. So ended up staying on there. And then when we sold Crummy, she was mentoring me through that because she was an entrepreneur herself and I'd never sold a business. And then she came to me and she was like, so just so you know, I'm looking to sell Georgette and I'm trying to sell it to some employees because I would really like to see it live on the way it is. And I think you'd be great. And would you be interested? So I was like, hell yeah. Like, I know the business already. I kind of think... I definitely like this entrepreneur thing. I definitely think I'm better working for myself. I now fully know I'm unemployable by anybody else. Like, I could never work for somebody else again. So decided to entertain that. It was a group of 4 of us and ended up coming down to 2 of us that bought the business from her. And then my business partner told me about 1.5 years later he wanted out, so bought him out. And here I am, sole owner, CEO, doing sales.
Still doing, can't escape.
You can't. No. So yeah, so it's been quite a journey. Like I said, I always knew it had it in me. It was just like the right opportunity presenting itself. So yeah. And jumping on it and saying, sure, I could do this. How hard can it be?
Yeah, like boxing,
yeah,
right?
Exactly.
Same thing.
100%.
Yeah. Well, we're all familiar with the space because you've worked here, you work here. I'm always here.
Always.
Somehow. And you are a tenant here in the hub. So kind of, what was kind of the choice of space, right? Because a lot of companies, like, were you, like, everyone went remote over the pandemic. Like, what was kind of that motivation to have a space again?
Yeah.
And then, like, what was the reason for
Georgette's journey with community? So Georgette, when Sarah founded Georgette, she founded it in London where she lived. And she moved to Kitchener because she was attracted to Ian Klugman and Communitech and the ecosystem here and wanted to just be part of that. Yep. And so was part of Communitech, was part of Velocity, had already been to Y Combinator, yada, yada. So came here for that because she wanted to build her business in that ecosystem. So I think they worked out of Velocity initially when she was just like brand new. Then she ended up, when I joined the company, we were located over across the road at the Beamer Box building. So just behind the new Google building. And we were there and it was a gorgeous, lofty, warehousey, beautiful space, but it was huge. And then COVID hit and we've gone hybrid. And it just didn't make any sense to have this. It was gorgeous, but like I'm in the office by myself most days because, it's just gigantic space. And that building has a lot of character, shall we say, but it's also interesting. There's people that live, there's like a boarding
It has character
room.
And it's full of characters.
Yeah, exactly. So it's a bit, on the sketchy side in some places. So we started looking at places to go, and Communitech was number one on the list because it's right down the street, and we'd already been part of that ecosystem. And came over and saw the space, and Susan toured us, and it was like, yes, and just like the amenities and I mean, I keep hearing how it's not the same as it was before COVID. I wasn't here then. I'm sure it's not, but just seeing humans and people, and in the meeting rooms and and all of that. So, yeah, we moved over here. We've been here 3-4 years now. Moved in different spaces, and yeah, they're just great. They're accommodating, and it's such a nice place to be because it is part of that ecosystem where people will pay it forward and will help you out. And it's 6 degrees of, it doesn't matter what it is, right? So a good example is, recently I was trying to hire new salespeople. I was interviewing this gentleman who was from El Salvador, and he was here on a work permit. And I've never hired anybody who's, on a work permit. I haven't got what do I know? I don't know what I don't know. So I literally just reached out to Ashley or Susan or somebody at Communitech and was like, is there anybody here that could just walk me through this? What should I be asking? And I can't remember the lady's name, but somebody in HR, and she sat down with me, she didn't have to do that. There's no obligation, and it was just like, this is awesome. That kind of support is amazing. And I hired him. It was great. So, yeah. So it's been good.
You guys have a cute little space up on the third floor.
Yeah, a little garage door. We opened it the other day when the women's hockey game was on because we were hoping to scream and yell when they won. But this guy walked by and he was like, whoa, that's awesome. I'm like,
people don't really, so before you moved in there, we had it as a little sitting room.
Yeah.
But the garage door was always open. And so everybody just thought it was a walk-through kind of thing. And then when you moved in and the garage door came down, so many people were like, did you guys just install that? I'm like, nope. It was there for a long time. But it's a nice, bright little spot too, which is nice.
Yeah. So yeah, we love being here. We love being here. It's awesome.
I think we've covered most of all the connections. I can't think of another connection that I might have. We got boxing.
I used to work at Charcoal.
Oh! I mean, there's another incubator of a different sort in this
city.
Oh
gosh, yeah, because it's very...
Yeah.
Like a charcoal?
I was a host and a bartender at Martini's.
Oh, nice. What year? Years?
2000 to 2003.
Oh, just missed you. I started in 2004.
Yeah, so Wildcraft didn't exist.
No.
None of that existed.
Yeah, it was just charcoal, martini, and
Del Dante's.
Yeah.
See, and when I moved here, everyone's like, go to Martini's and order off the charcoal menu.
Yes.
Well, that's right. Lots of people used to do that.
Yes.
Then they went and shut down the pasta bar, and it was just
So did you work with Sarah Misselbrook on the front door? No, okay. Yeah.
I did.
Yes.
KW.
Bless her heart.
Yes.
Our VP of Strategic Initiatives, she was GM.
Ashley Howitt?
Yes.
Yes.
So she was general manager at Wildcraft as well.
Yes.
I was going to mention that I took Rod Foster's Tech Sales Fundamentals course when I was at Communitech, and Georgette Packaging was a guest speaker, or Sarah was a guest speaker.
Yeah,
so,
for sure. Amazing.
Again, full
So
circle,
many.
no degrees of separation.
Yes.
There's no degrees of separation. Everything is connected. So the connections that we have aren't just limited in this room. Everyone in the region is connected by this once-in-a-generation opportunity to build this new hospital campus.
Yeah, so I think you mentioned on an earlier podcast, but this region hasn't seen a new hospital in over 100 years. And also, if you think about it, Waterloo itself doesn't have a hospital. All 3 sites, we mentioned them earlier, Midtown, Queens Boulevard, Chicopee, are all in Kitchener. So, yeah, what's exciting is that it's coming to Waterloo, coming to University of Waterloo campus, North Campus. It'll be the Waterloo Regional Health Network at the university. And I think everyone's just so excited to think about the possibilities of what partnerships could look like, what innovation is going to look like, how are we going to support medtechs locally at this hospital. So I think, as you said, once in a generation that we're going to be able to build a world-class hospital right here in our hometown.
Yeah, and it's such an interesting difference to look at Waterloo Region now compared to 10 years ago, where today we now have the McMaster Accelerate. We have MIX, Medical Innovation Exchange. We're going to have the new campus eventually. We have all this med tech stuff happening. So it's really great to see.
And if we want to bring back we're all in sales now and everyone's in sales, the cold calling piece is really not cold when you're here in Waterloo Region trying to raise money for the hospital. Everyone's got some connection to healthcare. And if they want to be treated locally and have the best possible equipment and best care available, then they should want to give.
I feel like I would be remiss if I didn't mention that if anybody's interested in live streaming the event, Gems for Charity, especially if you're interested in maybe participating next year and you're curious, you can live stream for a minimum $25 donation to Ren
Wow.
So you just have to go to Champs for Charity website and sign up that you can donate more. But for $25, you can get a live stream link.
Yeah.
The live stream is produced by Norm Claire on Marketing Group, who does amazing live stream productions. Last year's was like they had like all these animations of like boxing gloves. I mean, like it was better than every year is better than the year before, and so all the people in the year before get jaded. So like my year when we saw 25 swag, we're like, what? They get a hoodie, they get a Yeti. Like, what's happening here?
We got
and then
so much love.
I saw this year's stuff, and I'm just like,
Yeah.
But then the poor people in like from 2019 are just like
They got
like a T-shirt,
Yeah.
But that was starting. So
Yeah.
it's always
Fair.
there. We'll also have a link to, there's a sign up form for if you're interested in trying out for next year's Champions for Charity, even though we haven't even had this year's yet. You might as
That's
well.
okay. That's what I did. I signed up like not too long after I talked to you, whenever that was, and it was like months in advance. But I'm like,
Oh, yeah,
I'm
they're
just
ready to
doing
go.
it now before I change my mind.
Exactly.
Yeah.
If you don't do it now, you're
Yeah.
just going to change your mind.
Yeah,
Yep.
exactly. So
I have 2 more plugs.
Oh yeah, let's go.
The connection points for champs from the Waterloo Regional Health Network Foundation, our VP of Development, Jamie Wilson, she fought last year for using the years. She fought in 25.
Yeah.
And then this year, our vice chair of the board, Darren Johnson, is fighting it as well.
shout out Red Team.
Red team.
Darren's
Darren.
on Red Team. He's on my team.
Darren's looking fierce out there.
Oh,
He's always
yeah.
looking fierce.
He's always there, half an hour early, already working out in the morning. Yeah, he's a quiet gangster. I feel like he's gonna. Yeah.
He's gonna take the belt.
Yeah.
Well, listen, thank you so much for joining us. We're going to have a lot of links in this episode. So we will have the Champs 50/50 link. We're going to have a link to your page
Thank
Yep.
you.
because the tech community, we want to support everyone, but we also want to support the tech community person fighting.
Yes,
100%.
please.
Do that. We'll do a little,
Mhm.
all the other 19 people are great and we've met them all.
They
They're
are,
fantastic.
sure,
but we'll have links to
Yeah.
the general page.
If I get the highest, there's a belt for like the highest
Oh, there is a
female and
belt.
highest
See.
male fundraisers.
But you need to like showcase that belt.
yeah,
in your
and it's
office.
it's like bling. So
It is a
Yeah.
nice belt.
Yeah.
It's a nice belt.
Yeah.
We'll have links for all of that. We'll have links for the Waterloo Region Health Network Foundation as well. So you can learn about all the opportunities, not just the 50/50, but there's a cornucopia of ideas and ways you can invest in your new hospital. So Troy, Jennifer, thank you for joining us. Alison, thank you for co-hosting.
Thank you for having us.
As always, if you have questions about how Communitech can help your tech company start, grow, and succeed, you can visit communitech.ca or follow along on social media at Communitech. I'm Alex Kinsella.
And I'm Alison Piel.
We'll talk to you soon.